From KATU News, this is a breaking news alert.
And our breaking news takes us to Kelly Point Park. You could see Occupy Portland protesters gathering this morning.
Yeah, they seem to be on the move. KATU's Lincoln Graves live for us right now. What's going on, Lincoln?
A lot of people marching towards the port entrance, you guys. We've seen them gather at the road that leads to Kelly Point Park on Marine Drive. They were set to gather there for a rally. They didn't stay long. They basically just parked all their cars and then started to gather on Marine Drive and start to march towards the port entrance. And this was their plan all along today. This is their shut down the ports day. They want to disrupt business. They want to shut down the ports. It is their way of showing solidarity with the 99% is what they say. This is interesting today because one group that has usually been on the same page with Occupy protesters, union members, they are not in support of this because they are the ones personally affected if anything were to shut down today. Union representatives telling us that perhaps people wouldn't be able to get paid if there was too much disruption. So they were not in support of this protest, and they were telling us that they were not going to participate. But you can see out here, there are hundreds of protesters here, and this is really just the first wave. We're told another rally and march scheduled to happen this afternoon at 4 o'clock. We have heard about a few arrests already this morning. 2 men arrested early this morning trying to get into Kelly Point Park. One with a loaded handgun, one with a sword. Although police tell us they were cooperative, they were tight-lipped about why they had those weapons, and they were taken into custody. The man with the gun, the permit for it had been revoked. Also, we were told there was a 2-vehicle collision this morning. One car was stolen. There were 4 members of the Occupy Portland movement in that car, and one of those people was arrested.
There are a few police officers out here, some of the bicycle police officers at the far edge of the group of people that have come out here. Now, we do know that earlier this morning there were a couple of arrests, 3 people who were in a car that said that they were doing recon for Occupy. Police came out here and they said police came out here and said that there were the 3 people in the car. They stopped them. One of the people had a gun. He was arrested. A second person had a warrant. He was arrested. The third person was allowed to leave. Now,
Lieutenant Robert King with the Portland Police Bureau on the phone with us. Good morning, Lieutenant. As we keep these live pictures up at the entrance to Terminal 6, we're seeing quite a crowd there. What's the expectation we can see from Portland Police?
You know, we're here today in support of the Port of Portland, and so we're going to do whatever we can to be of assistance throughout the course of the day should they need our help.
It would appear we saw earlier some of the rapid response team members are there, correct?
They are. You know, we have our motorcycle officers, our bike officers, rapid response team officers are all here. Of course, in Portland, we're pretty well versed in Occupy, and so you know we're going to be out here today to make sure that things are safe and things are peaceful, and do our very best to support the Port of Portland.
So, Lieutenant King, I'm sorry, what's the plan if more trucks are trying to get into Terminal 6 and get to work and do their job? How are you planning on handling that?
Well, apparently the terminal is closed. Trucks are not being let in. It's obviously will have a dramatic and huge impact on business, not just here locally, but also throughout the region. Apparently that it was going to be closed didn't get communicated to all of the truckers, so I know they're being turned away, and they'll be leaving the area.
Thus far, based on the video that we've seen and talking to our reporters, this movement that's now up at the entrance to Terminal 6, no arrests there, but you guys have had a very busy morning already. Tell us a little bit about what happened out at Kelly Point Park with those weapons and those 2 individuals arrested.
Well, about 2 o'clock this morning, Portland police officers assigned to North Precinct made a traffic stop, and in the course of the stop, they learned that the driver was suspended, misdemeanor, and he also had a loaded Glock 40 as well as 2 additional magazines. There was a samurai sword in the car. The passenger, there were a total of the driver and 2 passengers. One of the passengers had a parole violation or probation violation out of Polk County. So the driver and the passenger were both taken into custody. The 3rd passenger was released. There was also, I don't know if I mentioned, it was a samurai sword that was in the car, and this was, they tell us, like an advance team for Occupy for this morning. They had walkie-talkies, and they were coming here to apparently check things out prior to them beginning their protest this morning.
And
then,
Lieutenant, we have about 30 seconds left, and then there's an arrest involving a stolen vehicle and an accident.
there was a crash just on Marine Drive, just at the I-5 overpass, and it was as we got there on scene to assist the motorist in exchanging information, we found out that the truck was stolen. And again, occupiers were in the truck. We've arrested the driver for unlawful use of a motor vehicle.
Lieutenant Robert King from the Portland Police Bureau keeping us up to date minute by minute with big developments that are happening right now at the Port of Portland. Lieutenant, thank you.
You're welcome.
They have a big job ahead of them this morning. Live pictures for you right now of the group out there. We're told this gentleman is blocking a truck from turning into Terminal 6, which is closed. There is a detour sign set up, but again, as Lieutenant King has shared with us, not all the truckers got the message that that terminal was going to be closed and that they needed to go to a different area. Union members not happy, usually in solidarity with the Occupy Portland group. They are not happy that this is happening today, blocking the terminal in the attempt to shut down all the West Coast ports. So we will watch and see what develops out here this morning.
Right, and what they're trying to do is clearly block all the trucks, block all the activity at what should normally be a very busy port. And the Port of Portland already anticipating this, closing that entrance off, knowing that this was coming. It's here, and it's expected to grow throughout the afternoon. That's why we have our crews out there.
And then we saw other trucks just have to turn around, and we talked to some of them, and one said he is just not happy about this protest today.
Well, it's going to cost me a day's pay. We have around 32 loads, 30-some loads that we have to get in here by Wednesday, and there's a cutoff date. And with this container on my truck, unless this is taken off there, I can't work anywhere else.
I understand that he's trying to make a living wage today, but the problem is that if you look ahead 10 years, 20 years, it doesn't look good for anybody. So we have to take some measures right now to try to secure a little bit more financial security for ourselves.